Welcome to the Yuma Territorial Prison. We're joined today with PIN in the Atlas. They're back there getting ready to go. Hopefully they're going to do most of the talking because they did most of the research. And I'm going to stand there and film.
Could you imagine though, 6 inmates to a cell and 1 pot to pee-pee in between all 6 of them? Pee-pee and poo-poo.
Bet it used to smell great in there.
They had wooden bunks originally and then they changed the bunks to steel because of the bed bugs. But did you know that the prisoners were forced to have a bath at least once a week? And if they didn't, they would end up in the dark cell.
The dark cell. For not washing your butt.
Mm-hmm.
Who knows? That dark cell might in private.
This room is old because I stood up for some miners during the emergency mine strike. That was back in 1903.
They're having an event, so that's what all the tables are for. These aren't period correct. And this is what one of the cells looks like that hasn't been all cleaned up and mannequins installed.
An interesting fact is that most of the inmates had to build their own cells where
When
they carried
first
out
built
their
it?
where
Yeah.
they carried out either their life sentence or died in prison.
Wow, it's better than digging your own grave, I guess. Playing with a bell over there. Behind the scenes. All right, now we get to go inside of a cell. So, what year did they say this was again?
It was 1874, I believe. Oh no, 1876 was when the prison was finished.
So yeah, this is very old, 150 years old. We've been hoarding the cell. Everybody wants to come in, so.
Yeah. Come on in. Let me out.
What's going on in here, guys?
Well, we were just sitting in here, and a bunch of people tried to come in, and we kind of felt bad because they were like, "Oh, people are in here," and they turned around, and then we're like, "Yeah, whatever."
Yeah. We were just talking about how the inmates had to use their spoons and forks to maybe dig their way out of the rock. It could be possible.
Oh yeah, it's like Shawshank Redemption. That was a true story.
So
He did it with a rock hammer.
the doors were doubles. I mean, so you had this outside door and then you had another door on the inside.
Oh.
Yeah, and then they had to deal with the mud daubers.
Yeah. Mud daubers and bed bugs.
But at least it would be cool in here compared to outside. I mean, geez, what is it?
Yeah, this actually feels really good.
Yeah, this is nice.
Yeah, but not with 6 men and pooping all in the same bucket.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine the smell? That would just be disgusting.
I can still smell it.
Yeah. They say you can still smell the bedpan to this day.
Get ya?
That's fake. July 16, 1932. That's fake.
Yeah.
That's fake because it was a school back then.
Yeah.
So I was wondering the same thing. You know, I was wondering because when I read about the school coming in at 1910 to 1914, I was wondering the same thing as Andrea here. Do they use the cells or where do they use it for the classrooms? So it had to have been the main building.
I would have thought so.
Well, I mean, because Yuma must have been such a small town back then.
Yeah.
You know, all the grades probably used one building.
Mm-hmm. Maybe they use a dark cell.
It was 19, I think it was 1911 or 1910 to 1914, and the football team was called the Criminals.
That's right. Yes, that's right.
And how many people actually rooted for them?
Right?
Actually, the reason why they were called the Criminals was to make other football teams scared of them.
Oh.
Okay.
That was the reason why.
Yeah. I guess that comes with the Jaguars,
Uh-huh.
Cougars,
Yep.
Okay, the Bears.
The Raiders.
And the Steelers who just steal.
Steal. Spelled differently.
So this bell here was cast in 1875. It was used for the townsfolk to be aware in case there was a prison break, and it could be heard from miles around. Shall we demonstrate? Cover your ears.
That looked like it was planned. Well, these ones were connected. That's got to be even worse. Double bed penetration.
Double stinkiness.
Double bed penetration. And these ones still got bunks.
Details about rock quarry. It says here that all the cells were locked at night. The prisoners had daily work detail, and the details included rock quarry, kitchen, sewing shop, adobe yard, and wood yard. Also a bit of prison construction. And after work, the prisoners had a little bit extra time for reading, arts, and crafts, or just some relaxing.
Relaxing by the bedpan.
Close your eyes.
Yep, more of the same. Double penetration. Infirmary. Did I say that right?
Infirmary.
Infirmary. Do you know anything about this?
Well, Andrea was just informing me that there was a nickname for this prison. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was like the prison from hell, or along that lines. But in actuality, the prison was actually one of the best prisons around because the inmates had a hospital, the infirmary. They also got taught two different languages, so a second language. They had access to a library.
Did she say Spanish and German? That's kind of when I walked up on the conversation. You had the choice of learning Spanish or German or something?
No, she was just saying you had the choice of learning a second language.
Oh, okay.
I believe, yeah. They had time for arts and crafts, and they got to use a library, which is uncommon back in the late 1800s for a prison.
This is cool. I don't know if this is all period correct. I mean, it kind of looks pretty legit to me, especially those beds. Old scale in there. I don't know about that 1980s Costco box, but
I mean, it's look at it's just carved right into the stone here.
Yeah, super cool. As far as we gathered about this place, is it was a lot more of a rehabilitation angle back then than just like straight up punishment. So it's kind of refreshing to see that they were at least trying.
It seems that the women had a little bit nicer than the men. 2 nice beds instead of 6, but they did just have 1 pot to pee in, kind of like the prisons of today. Let's go join Stephen and Andrea at the dark cell.
Pretty sure the tourists think that they're tour guides because they're in there talking about it. Old school solitary confinement.
Yeah.
So I heard you guys were back here pretending you were the tour guides.
Just kind of.
So imagine being in here,
Pitch black.
pitch black, 2 doors. Your buddies can't even knock on the door and give you little signals or anything.
And you weren't actually just in this room. You were caged in this cage.
Oh.
So this was the cage. I think the cage is outside. This is where you would be ball and chained, only in your undies, stripped of all your clothes.
Oh, so you would be chained to this.
Yeah, so
This isn't just
yeah, and up to 12 people they would put in here at any one time, and no bucket for a toilet. So you literally sat.
Oh, so it's not solitary, it's just dark. You might be in here with other people.
It was originally made for solitary confinement, but up to 12 prisoners at a time had been known to be put in here.
Wow. That's just torture.
Confinement. Not just, we were talking about bathing earlier, but if they spat, if they littered, if they got found making weapons, if they didn't do, or if they did any of that, they were put in here.
Really kept them in line.
And funnily enough, Stephen just asked me this, nobody ever died in here, ever. But 2 people did end up in a mental asylum because they were in here.
Scary.
So the light, I think that is the only light. It was one shard of light that came through.
Oh wow, so this is what we would be staring at all day.
No, I don't know how long they would be confined. Obviously, I guess it would be depending on what they did. But I mean, would it be 24 hours? Would it be 5 days?
Until they remembered you were in here. I mean,
Excuse me, young man. You don't see the books?
Everything's online now.
It's one of the, that's what it looked like. That's actually pretty impressive for a prison, hardcore prison, to have that.
yeah, that's where the cell is.
So where's that door? Right here. Just trying to figure out, so where would this door be?
Maybe look this way.
Well, the ceiling's
The ceiling doesn't even look the same. They're liars.
They fibbed. They were actually going to demolish the whole place.
Were they?
Yeah. And then they decided not to. Yeah. They demolished a lot of it because of the car park. They built the car park. Then some of it was demolished because of the railroad and the bridge.
Okay.
So a lot of the prison was taken then as well. And did you know the first prisoners that came here actually helped build the prison?
She
Interesting
did
fact.
know.
I did.
Fun fact.
Yeah,
See?
interesting fact.
We're smart. We do our research. See, it's the chicks. It's the girls that do it.
This is
That's
original.
Yeah. I think. Well, the only one that's 100% original, standing in its own, the original place, is the Sally Court. You know where we entered?
Uh-huh.
That's what I read. But I would imagine. This has got to be original.
So this is the prison yard, and these are the extra cells they had to add on when the place started getting too full. Oh, there's some cool stuff in here, though. I wonder how much of this is prison graffiti and how much of it is just graffiti. There's your prison yard. Not much to work with. Can't even see the mountains.
We were just saying
Inmates.
that you can actually see the chain, where they used to chain people into the cell at the bottom.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
And we were just trying to figure out whether or not these were kind of like holding cells, or did they have bunks in here?
It does say 1913 back there.
But the prison was closed before 1913. It was 1909, wasn't it? Or 1911?
1911 is when the school.
Okay, so it was 1909 the last prisoner left, and then the following year it was made into a school.
I think my favorite thing about these places is I just love all this old ass metal. Just been sitting here for 150 years. That's my thing. That old door frame over there. All of this just old school wood. All worn away at the bottom. Just love how things hold up so well out in the desert, out in these dry climates. And it gets this awesome color.
Well, I was there for a year.
So I was going along thinking they were all about the same. I didn't know they had a restored one.
Complete with bed bugs. It says that only 2 ever people escaped from inside the walls of the prison. Yet I read that there was many successful escapes and 8 people died of gunshot wounds from trying to escape. Maybe they mean they were trying to escape but never actually made it. And then these people actually made it. Maybe that's where.
Maybe they just mean they made it and never got caught.
Yeah.
So maybe other people did escape, but they got caught and returned.
Yeah, so a little bit confusing. Yes, it does. It says there, without being recaptured. So 2 left without being recaptured. The others, the 28, were captured and 8 of them got shot.
That explains it.
Then spent the rest of their life in one of these prison cells.
This was the pirate cell. They stored their treasure. Arr. Did you guys know there was a pirate cell where they put pirates?
No.
It was the cell all the way on the left. This was the pirate cell.
Take one key.
Arr, it still has its booty.
There's always got to be one change.
You can say what you really want to say. This is our channel here.
I know.
No.
Los bienvenidos cantan con suspiros de amor.
This guy was in here for tax evasion. That guy was for petty theft. And that guy ate a baby.
We're just guessing.
Dude, this guy right here, he looks like he could just be like your neighbor today. He looks like a
hanging
normal dude, like from 2014. Oh, see, that guy assaulted his neighbor. And this guy was,
Possessed by a demon.
yeah, he was just possessed by a demon. That's the only reason he was in here. Get both sides of your face. She's in for horse theft.
And that's of a little girl who died during the Great Depression. She was 9 years old. And she goes around pinching people and pushing them and touching them with her ice cold hands. Especially if you're wearing red, apparently.
What about black?
What about blue?
So yeah, these bridges, when they were installed, it actually knocked out a whole bunch of the prison. And also where the parking lot is here, there used to be more of the prison. This is just like a tiny sliver of it left. But it does give you a good idea of at least what the buildings look like and kind of how things were. It's a shame that the entire thing wasn't still here though. Even if it was just ruins, it would be pretty rad. And that is the main guard tower. Didn't really cover that on the way in. It's pretty sweet. Looks like they restored it pretty well. I thought it was a water tower at first.
En el mes de mayo.
Playing Deer Hunter. Let's see what this guy's doing right here. Where are you jogging to, bud? So we're gonna finish off our journey to prison here at the cemetery and try not to be tempted to look down these little holes. This is incredible.
Washing, and they couldn't dry, you're breathing in all that damp and mould. And so that's how I've interpreted tuberculosis.
I thought it was contagious somehow.
It is very, very contagious. That's why so many people died, and that's why we all had, I mean, as a kid I had the vaccine against TB. But I know TB was a real big thing back in those days. And
It would have just spread through
yeah,
prison.
other diseases, I said suicide, obviously inmates each other's lives. And I believe, I read somewhere, that some of these grave sites got washed away in heavy rains as well.
Oh, still buried here then.
They should be.
Okay. They didn't relocate them somewhere.
Not to my knowledge. All the information I read, the bodies are buried under the rocks. And it's sad, like we were saying, that so every one of these graves did have an old wooden marker, and most of them were stolen.
Ah, that'd be incredible to see just an original,
Yeah.
even if you couldn't, it was unlegible, just knowing that it was the old school, old west, headstone.
So stolen, and also ravages of time. But there is nothing, there's no remnants at all.
So we're ending our little journey here with Pin in the Atlas at the cemetery of the
Yuma State Prison.
the Yuma State Prison. And it was truly an honor meeting you guys, and I can't say it enough, they are even way cooler in person, and I truly mean that.
Thank you very much.
So are you guys.
I know. You guys are
Well,
such
we
a-
know that. I mean, we're just that'll work.
See the ball and chain. We're at the prison.
Was there a picture of you right there? Hopefully. Hopefully.
Well, I have the one in
That's
the
just
car.
sweet.
On my phone. How's it clicky on it?
Oh yeah.
Wiki in the car?
Clicky in the car?
Hmm.
Ooh. Rehabilitation. What do you want to talk about? How it's more like a rehabilitation center than a prison?
I'll make it simple. The creepy guy in the corner over there filming. Yeah, 2 airplanes. One of them's dropping chemicals. The other one isn't.
Gunned down by those sons of bitches.
Oh, naughty words.
Okay, corral back in
You said sons of bitches. This is the main attraction. This is 8 IKEA bed frames.
They're like, hey guys, you ready to come out for dinner? Yeah. Oh, sorry, not yet, not yet. Oh, now you ready? You ready? Oh, no, not yet.
Demolished because of the bridges. So yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
Guess we covered that. Sounds like every time I start talking. Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
You want to do another full intro or outro?
You didn't think that was good? I thought that was genuine.
Genuine that you couldn't remember where we were.
Yeah.